What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the messages, let's just say, that certain developers, obviously for God of War, are getting. Now, I got to be careful in terms of the words I'm using, right? We obviously know that they're really getting T words, but I don't even think you're allowed to say stuff like that on YouTube, and I play it very, very safe over here, much more safe than anybody I've ever seen, okay? So I do want to talk about it. I'm not going to read them out, but I want to talk about, well, obviously, it's disgusting, it's bad, and it really takes away actual criticisms of things, okay? But I want to have kind of a more just discussion on that as the video goes on. So, as always, if you guys are new or you haven't already, make sure you guys are subscribed. We're very close to 51,000, which we did that very, very quickly. So, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, hit the like button. And if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, we have an actual really good community on Twitter. I know there's some people that just don't want to be on Twitter, and I get that. But Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. Links always in the description. Obviously, you could just look me up over on Twitter, and I personally think we have a really amazing group of people over there. Some very, very nice people, kind of the best of the nice people on YouTube, I would even argue. All right, so look, I mean, it's not something where you can defend these actions, right? It's just flat out wrong. You have Alana getting it. You have Cory Barlog getting it. I'm sure you have any developer, probably higher up. I don't really think people are actively seeking out people that have a couple thousand followers on Twitter that are like a level designer of God of War, on Twitter, that are, attacking them. Attacking is probably a better word we can use for the sake of, throughout this video. But, none of them really deserve it. To me, I mean, okay, and I get, like, this stuff is always going to happen. I know, when I tweeted this earlier today, that was some of the responses, is that, it's just kind of the world we live in. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't make it, I want to make it very clear, it doesn't make it okay. It's not something that should be applauded. It's still, I would say, something that you should actively call. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but it's something you should actively call out, right? Just kind of accepting it and saying, oh yeah, they're getting the T words, they're getting, where people want to take them out, stuff like that. That's just the world, so we're just going to stand back. No, we should still talk about it because people should still hear this, even though we're kind of speaking to the choir. I think there is an opportunity. I always believe that. I always believe there's an opportunity to get to people that are asleep or not paying attention or that are so into one thing or the other. In this situation, obviously, it's people that are a little too mean, right, online. But, I mean, just in no world, obviously, is this okay. I just don't understand it personally to myself. I mean, I guess, like, young, and I assume they're younger people. If there's people, like, in their 20s, 30s, 40s, etc., that are doing this, they are absolute pathetic lowlifes, right? But, like, for a child, for somebody that's, like, a young teenager, like 12, 13, 14, 15, I mean, could I see this happening? I guess. I mean, it has to be coming from somewhere, right? I mean, I remember back then, yeah, I would get very disappointed when games wouldn't come out get delayed. I would tell you guys, while I'm probably the least console warsy person, right now, okay, in my current age that I'm at right now, I mean, I used to be very pro Sony, and I would be on the side where it's like, oh, if Xbox gets something, oh, that's terrible, all that stuff. Now, and I would say over the last 5, 6, 7 years, it's like, no, I truly don't care. I will go where the games go. I mean, yes, PlayStation will always probably be my primary thing. I have a somewhat unspoken loyalty to them, okay? But at the same time, if there's a game that comes out on Xbox, I find an Xbox and I play it. Or I already have an Xbox and I play it. If it only comes to PC, same thing. Switch, same thing. So it's like, my loyalty isn't that. It's not like I don't really know how to say it, right? I'm not that into God of War where I feel the need to attack people at the level or any level. I know when I say at the level, it kind of sounds like, well, it's okay to say something. Look, and this is the other thing. This is the bigger issue to me, and I don't want it to overshadow the fact that this isn't okay, right? Because that's the biggest issue that comes out of something like this is not okay. But one thing that I always look at personally is, I hate when people do this because it takes away the idea of being critical or criticism. See, if you guys didn't notice, and I know you guys are the people that follow me, like, I think we're on a different level, to be honest with you. I don't think we're afraid to call out things. I don't think we're afraid to criticize things. And, if you're super with me or you super, I guess, just understand me, you'll know I can love something but also be very critical of it. Look, the God of War stuff and the Horizon stuff that I've talked about over the last year, when I've gone on the rants for Horizon, when I've gone on the rants for God of War, some people that just flat out don't listen, okay, they watch 5 seconds of it and they make up their mind right there. They don't understand that, I actually, sometimes it's oh, you're a hater, you're never going to play the game anyway. No, I love God of War. I've loved it forever. I'm going to play the new game. I know I'm going to love it. So when I say, is Horizon going to be held back? I even said in those videos, I think the game's going to be incredible. I think it's going to be a Game of the Year contender. Horizon's a top 3 most anticipated game I have right now. And out of any game, Hogwarts, Gotham Knights, God of War, BioShock, you can look GTA 6, look at games coming 3, 4, 5 years away. Horizon is at the top, okay? So it's not that I hate it. It's that I'm just picking on certain aspects that I think should be talked about, okay? That's all it is. And again, people don't understand that. So that's obviously an aside thing, but not really, because it, obviously it applies here. This is why I hate these people that do this attacking stuff and all that, because it really takes away from any kind of criticism. And I'm actually kind of a big backer of if you have something to say, you should say it. You should not be afraid. Now, again, there's a difference between that and going to people and doing these T words and all that stuff. And so obviously I'm not advocating that, and I never want anybody to do anything remotely close to that, right? But, if you want to say I'm disappointed that the game's delayed, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, taking the next step and throwing in insults and throwing out, taking them into a back alley, or, things that are even more worse than that, right? That's obviously, there's that line. It's an invisible line. People who don't always see it, okay? And then you just crossed it when you say stuff like that. You know what I mean? Saying you're disappointed about a delay, I really don't think there's anything wrong about that. I've even said that for, if somebody, say Elden Ring. We're all, or people that are into Elden Ring, and I want to see Elden Ring as well. We're okay, the game's been known forever. They're not at any of these events, but we've heard it's close to being done, all this stuff. I don't think there's anything wrong with being disappointed when it doesn't show up at events. And again, I think that's become such a taboo thing where you can't even say that, because it's oh, well, you must be inferring that you despise them, or you must be taking that extra step. No, I'm simply saying I don't like the fact that it's not there, and I think we have a right, considering we're gonna be the ones to buy the game. I think we have the, and again, that's the same thing for God of War. If you don't like it, because technically they promised it. I guess they didn't promise it, but they said 2021. So that's a big corporation telling us the game's going to come out. And if you want to look at it, now I look at it as they were just flat out lying, even when they said that. I know they said they thought God of War could actually come out this year. I call that complete baloney. I don't think that was true whatsoever. I think the game was never going to be able to come out this year. They were just doing it to hype it up. But even if you don't believe that, they said 2021 and then it doesn't happen. Now, again, am I saying go to Jim Ryan's door? No, leave Jim Ryan alone, okay? We can talk about him over here. But no, leave them alone. You know what I mean? But I do think there is a small little area where you can complain and say, I'm disappointed. But I would attach it with something positive, hey, and I always do this, by the way, hey, super disappointed. I think I did this for Hogwarts Legacy when it got delayed. Gotham Knights, it's that sucks. I don't like this. I borderline hate it. But I know you guys are working hard, and it's going to be worth it. The delay is going to be worth it. All that. So I try to counter it, which is actually a good teaching tool for anybody who's into that, right? You try to, if you pick on something or you say something negative, you try to oppose it in the same sentence with something positive, because you get that kind of positive feedback. That's actually kind of that's a real learning tip that people do to people. So, that's kind of how I do it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with being upset that the game is delayed. Now, again, but taking that extra step, acting spoiled, acting like you're kind of owed it, right? Even though we are the ones who buy it, I mean, it's their game. They're the ones making it. But taking it that step, really, any of that stuff is still kind of a gray area. Some people may agree with certain parts of it. Some people may not. I understand that, okay? But then obviously when you take it to going after an individual person, that I think everybody knows that crosses the line. Sadly, it seems like not everybody, right? But again, they're a bunch of teenagers, and I guess you could say also it just makes gamers in general look bad, right? We do have a stigma, the 10-year-old Xbox players that play Call of Duty and scream into the mic like that. That's something everybody knows about, and the sad thing is it's actually true. It's not it's a made-up thing. It's an actual true thing, right? And then something like this, people know in the gaming industry, when you delay a game or when you have a bad game or stuff like that, people get these kind of messages, let's say, right? Should they be taken seriously? I mean, depends on the kind of message, right? I'd assume 90 to 95% are from anywhere between 10 to 16-year-olds, and I wouldn't take many of those very seriously, okay? But then there could, be real ones. So knock it off, pretty much is what I'm saying. I know it's not, it's weird for me to make these videos. To be honest, in a way, I don't even like making the videos because it's like, I truly do believe people in my community, they're not and if you do this, please leave, like get lost right away, because I mean this is just not how you do things. There's plenty of other ways to do things, and again, I operate in more of a gray area than I think a lot of other people do, but this is absolutely not okay, right? So it's kind of odd to make a video like this because I know most, if not all, of you guys don't even do anything remotely close to this. So it's like, why make the video? But I do think it's a interesting conversation and something we could talk about. So let me know, guys, in the comments below. What do you think? Obviously, in the comments, you're able to say things that I can't say in the video, so you can use certain words and all that stuff. But let me know what you guys think about the discussion. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon. Like I said, we're getting close to 51K. Super cool. We're going to keep marching along, hopefully get to 60, 65K by the end of the year, somewhere in that range, I hope. Follow me over on Twitter. We're getting close to 2,100 followers over there, which is super. I'm a big numbers guy, so if you guys didn't know that. But Twitter, the link's in the description, and obviously you can just follow me over on Twitter, okay? Thank you for watching, guys, and I hope to see you all on the next video.